quite a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Good God, I am still in the mix of trying to find like new hobbies to do and everything. For me, I have gotten into chess. Chess is a game that I actually picked up and played with my dad for the longest time when I was younger. I was always playing with him, and it was like kind of a pastime for us because it was like super easy. The games would last like 15 minutes. It was just fun. It was like a little brain teaser. Now I'm back into it, and I play on this app called chess.com. It's also a website. It's got a universal rating, and the universal rating covers every grandmaster to novice player there is, ranging from a level of 0 to 3,000. It can go higher, but the thing is that the max player is like at 28 something, 2,900 something, or an expert player would be at 2,000, and then a player that's kind of an average player would be 1,600 to 1,400. Me, I'm still starting out with the chess app, so I have to like get my score a little bit up, but hopefully I can get around like 1,700, 1,800. That's where I'm hoping to get. But it's funny because like I haven't had like a quantifiable score to go by in a long while, and it reminded me of something that was like huge in academia, especially in like junior high, and that was the SAT or ACT. Now, I don't know if you guys ever took the SAT or ACT, depending on where you live, but these basically quantify your intelligence level, your ability to be able to process a certain amount of information in a given amount of time and be able to provide us with a correct answer, or at least the best answer that you can provide, given it being math, reading, comprehension, or like creative writing. And it's funny because like this entire life where you're going through school, being at a standard level with everyone else, even taking advanced classes if you want, like AP classes or any type of IB classes, which is what I took, right? And then getting to a point where you have a test, it categorizes you at a level of IQ. And it's funny, for me, I always had test anxiety, and it stunk because as far as preparation goes, I would prepare for things all the time, and I would be ready for a test, but I would take the test and then I would overthink things and end up scoring less. It's not that I didn't know it, you know, like when you're struggling in a class, your mom tells you to like go to tutoring or something, right? The teacher would then question me, you know, like, why did you answer, you know, give this answer for this this question? And I would say, well, because I overthought it. I thought, you know, X at first, which is the correct answer, and then I was like, oh, wait, no, that can't be right. Then I would think Y, then I would think Z, then I would think A, and then B, and then C, and then eventually I would just get to the answer E and write that down, and then that would be my final answer. She was like, well, you had the right answer the entire time. And I said, yeah, I know. She goes, okay, so you know it. I said, yeah, well, I know it. She goes, then why don't you put it? It's like, dude, how do you explain this? Does anyone else feel this way?
No, I said it's true. I could feel the love. Can you feel it too? I could feel it all around. I could feel it all around. You know, I said it's true. I could feel the love. Can you feel it too? I could feel it all around. I could feel it all around. Yeah.
Now you may be questioning, like, Marshall, the SAT and the ACT aren't IQ tests. We have our actual IQ test. But yeah, if you take an IQ test, you can be the dumbest person in the world, but if you score well in the SAT and ACT, that's the one that's going to dictate your career path and a lot of other things that are way outside the realm of what an IQ test would rather give you in results. So really, at the end of the day, at its core, isn't it an IQ test, an SAT and ACT test? They're IQ tests because, I mean, they themselves dictate what you're gonna do. You know what's funny is, like, I've never thought of myself as having bad memory. Like, that's just not a thing that I've had, really. I like joke around with my friends. I'm like, oh, I have the worst memory ever. But like, honestly speaking, it's never been bad enough to where I thought, oh, like I wouldn't be able to like do well in school. I wouldn't be able to do well in remembering a lot of things. It's not eidetic by any means, but I mean, like, it's not impairing. And it's funny because like some of the people that I met that struggled the most in school, coincidentally enough, had some of the best memories I've ever seen. There was one guy that I remember, he didn't do the best in school, but the kid would remember like the shirt I was wearing 3 years ago, what restaurant we went to, the orders of all 4 people that were there, you know, hanging out, what was said, and
if it was like the weather that day, and he'll tell me the exact date and then the day it was on, like of the week. I mean, like, how the hell does our memory think up all that? And then we take a test. It has to do with just some average topic, not do well. It just doesn't make sense, Let's just all relate to this. How he somehow archived all 900 songs and every single lyric of those 900 songs, and knowing the exact beat, the rhythm, the key, everything. But then we struggle on like the dates for, when the America was created, the documentation, and then the day of battles and stuff like that. Like, it's just so here and there. It's not a blanket statement to say that our memory is good. In certain spans it's good. Certain types of information we can consume differently from others, and it's just super interesting because like we're then put into a pigeonhole where we essentially have to like take a standardized test where if you don't understand or you can't acclimate to the material that's given to you, you essentially are proclaimed stupid, publicly. So I've always questioned, SAT and ACT. I'm not like trying to be a cynic of it. I think that is a great idea to be able to, test how far the educational system has brought you in your development as a person. But I mean, it's interesting how that single format of a test for your intelligence is what dictates if you're smart or not and where you can go to school. And this thought has kind of permeated. I think it's permeated throughout my life. Because I was just hard on myself. I wanted to be the best of the best, even though I wasn't necessarily the best student. I wouldn't give in that time to really do my work, but nonetheless, I pushed myself to be that best student. For students, I know they get really caught up in grades, especially when your family pressures you on it. Those things, essentially that number becomes your value. And like, for me, I kind of felt that a lot. And for a while there, it really like took a toll on me. And it really became a damper on my life because like I always, affiliated my value with my level of intelligence. And I don't know if you feel similarly, but I mean, at least during the 11th grade year and senior year of high school, especially, like, yeah, that's how it felt. Because I mean, that's how you're getting accepted in by colleges, and some colleges want you, some colleges don't. Some people, get accepted to every college they apply to, others get rejected to every one of them that they, apply to. For me, it was kind of 50-50. And honestly speaking, yeah, it hurts no matter what getting rejected by somebody, essentially because, they don't like you for a number. If that should not be, the standard for how we test people for their IQ, what is? And what makes somebody intelligent? Because I mean, like, there's a level of IQ and then there's a level of EQ. Does emotional intelligence make you intelligent? I don't think so, but I mean, like, should you discount it? Is that a thing? Let alone, yeah, like I said, there are people who struggle with school because of certain issues, and like they themselves have some of the best memory I've ever seen, but then they're not considered intelligent because they don't necessarily score a high enough grade on a test. Like, it doesn't, to a certain extent, it's how fast you're able to process information and how much information you can retain at a given go situation. Another problem that a lot of people face, and I don't even understand this one, is like some people are incredibly book smart and then they don't have street smarts. And like, common sense carries you a long way in life. So really, is intelligence defined by common sense, or is it defined by book smarts? What truly defines it?
Make moves like a chess piece, and that move real quick like Nestle. Let me make it clear for a second like Pepsi. I was never worried about my wallet being empty, cause when it was empty, I was still happy walking with my wallet.
Now, the swarm of questions, I didn't mean to berate you with them or anything, and you're probably thinking, Marshall, where are you trying to go with this? And that is basically,
Here's the message. I know that a lot of us really do emphasize on the importance of intelligence. And I'm not saying that intelligence isn't important. Intelligence certainly is important, and it makes life a lot easier if you're able to have a high IQ. And it stinks because the thing is that a lot of this stuff is hereditary. It's something you're born with. And what I'm trying to say is that that's not the most important thing in life. The things that entail success don't entirely revolve around intelligence. One of the biggest things is simply being there no matter what, and showing your due diligence and having that work ethic to go above and beyond someone else. And if I could spare you with any type of pain in your life, then I think I did this video justice. This video is meant for that, to basically explain the idea that your value doesn't come from your intelligence. Your value comes from a whole plethora of different things, and what makes you you isn't defined solely by that one attribute. To all my intelligent subscribers, thanks so much for listening in. It really does mean a lot. If you're new to the community, thank you so much for joining. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you know when my next video goes out. Make sure to like the video if you did enjoy that content as before. And yeah, respond down below because I always love talking to new people. But with that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace.